everybody. I'm going to get warmed up for readings this evening. This is at the time of the Aquarius new moon 2022. However, this reading is applicable anytime that you encounter it online. If you are drawn to one of the cards in this pile in this in this video, there is a message here for you. So let's just get right into it. We have deck number 1, deck number 2, and deck number 3. If you're still having a hard time choosing, this is what the decks look like with more of the cards laid out. If they're calling to you now, man, I'm getting so tongue-tied. If one of them is calling to you more now, take that into consideration, and now we will actually start. Hi, pile number 1. So, I hope you're enjoying this cozy vibe for this reading today. This is my lunar return and Saturn return, and I'm doing lots of self-care today. And I wanted to do, the vibe was to do the readings on the bed. So that's what we're doing. We're getting ultra cozy self-care energy infused in this. So we've got messages, and then we have some action cards for you today. Let's go through. This first card is an affirmation card. And it says, I surrender to a power greater than me. So this has a lot to do with that deep surrender where we come through and find that higher connection and let it fully resonate with us without judging it or trying to analyze it, perceive something from it, like getting analytical with it. Is one of my things. You know, a lot of this, like, it's a little bit Aquarian too, but just wanting to have this like analytical headspace type of approach, engaging with like the mind's energy. We need the mind's energy to be practical and think things through and all of that, but sometimes it inhibits us from fully surrendering. There's other areas of the body that you can kind of lean on more often that can create some kind of type of block in being able to fully surrender. A lot of those will harbor within our physical bodies, within maybe your voice, more like a throat chakra thing. You feel like a block there. Like you'll tend to feel this, or you'll feel just like you get so caught up in one of those other areas, one area of your life or your body or your system in general. That will inhibit you from surrendering. So again, your affirmation card is, I surrender to a power greater than me. Next we have integration, 3-3. I like to read some of these from the book, actually. This is the Shamanic Healing Oracle deck. 33, integration. Also, the page number this is on page 96. It's integrals, intervals. Oh my god, my math words are dissolving from my brain since I took all of those classes. Anyway, multiples of 3. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. We are a sum of all our experiences in this and other lives. We all bring forward a wealth of knowledge, talents, and wisdom. One of the challenges is remembering who we are. We are bombarded every day and every way with messages on who we should be, what we should do, what we should wear, how we should live, etc. These messages, coming from the media, society, our family and friends, and even strangers, drown out who we really are meant to be, who we have grown into lifetime after lifetime. Find some quiet moments in your day to identify and start a relationship with that small, strong voice inside you. Pretty soon, you won't hear the other messages. Many times in your interactions with others, you hear that small voice that tells you something is not right. Your logical mind tells you to stop it. Nothing is wrong. Stop being silly, dramatic, overreacting. You may ignore your inner voice in a quest to fit in, to be loved or admired. You do not realize your inner voice is warning you that the other person's energy is not matching their words or actions. Listen to your instincts about this situation or person. as I was reading that last bit, I also heard, I also got that that other person's energy is not your energy. So it's not going to work the same way for you as it does for them. People can give advice and tips and all of that, but at the end of the day, what works for one person with their energy will not necessarily work for you and your energy. So even if they're what they're saying or suggesting is valid for them and with good intentions, is not necessarily going to be helpful for you. Next we have these cards from the, oh, I don't remember what it's called, the Archetypes deck. We have the Orphan and the Forest. And I also like to read from this. I picked a couple decks I like to read more of. So the Orphan, I'm already, first of all, I'm getting this feeling kind of like your inner child, your younger self, feeling kind of like a loner going off into the forest, having this big own inner world. Really, in that moment is when you first, maybe not first, but it was a big time for me personally, where you went and you found this part of yourself, this internal part of yourself that you were able to deeply connect to, where you're just kind of like out in the forest and nature around you, being in harmony with all the beings and trees and dirt and wind, and just feeling so connected to everything, but also just so deeply connected with yourself. You're not getting all these messages from other people, like what you were saying. You're just like fully integrated with your own existence, and surrendered. So the Orphan, I know, is also going to have some implications of feeling like probably abandoned and all of this, but I'm feeling a little bit of a duality in it. So starting with that Orphan card, this is the wounded child, the abandoned, the beggar. To study the orphan is to study the deep and challenging energy of our time. We are ever more connected, yet face collective isolation. The refugee crisis haunts our planet. Children are separated from parents, and the earth begs for our attention. We are in a time of universal orphanage, of nature, of each other, of our own hearts. Take refuge in the fact that we all share this core wound and dilemma. It is normal to fear this card, as it haunts the caverns of the soul. When it appears, take time, real time, to be in the presence of the feelings this card stirs in you. Let it humble you. What are you starving for? What is the deepest gift you could imagine giving to others? What has been rejected is quite possibly what is most needed, dear one. This goes into details of this energy. When it is light of a high vibration, it is deep solace, deep acceptance, and deep love. When it's dark, it's distance, it hates, avoids, it's controlling and limiting. If you'd like to go deeper into this concept, look up Mary Oliver's The Kitten. It says, tenderness beyond tenderness is required. Imagine holding yourself in your hands. To recognize that each one of us fears rejection and isolation is to take one step toward the orphan. More kindness always. And so, also with this, the idea that you could have been kind of cast off, or you felt like you could only relax out in the woods on your own, being out away from the people, or so you have a moment to surrender in a sense of safety, can be coming through. There is that feeling of rejection and wounds. We're going to move on to the forest. I'm being very brave here, thinking I will just open up to the page. Sometimes I do. There we go. The forest. Consider for a moment your earliest memory of the forest. It's likely included in all the mythic dynamics of this archetypal space. A little fear, a little enchantment. perhaps losing your way, perhaps discovering a secret mystical treasure. Such is the magic of the forest. It requires first that you enter it, and then that you get lost within it. You may think there is a path to lead you straight through, but soon enough you'll be on what is known as the pathless path. There are tricksters here, defense foliage, and entanglement, but equally present are glimmers of fairy light and friends among the trees. You are on an adventure now. There's no turning back. So embrace the dim light and the moving shadows. Whether literal or imaginal, is that a word? Brave the forest and get lost getting found. When this energy is light and of high frequency, it is full of magic. It says magic abounds, childlike wonder, adventure. But when it's dark, it's concealment, density, and savagery. If you'd like to go deeper into this side of the reading, look at the opening 3 lines of Dante Alighieri's Inferno. If you get out of the forest without feeling lost, you are only in a little grove of trees. The great archetypal forest requires we spend at least one night frightened for our life. Now I have a couple action cards for you. We have the 2 of Pentacles and the World. And right away I'm seeing both of them holding 2 things in their hands. We see them actually in similar physical positions too. I've never noticed so much connection between these cards. Anyway. The action cards having these 2 show the world opening up, but also this like juggling. It feels like you're juggling these sides that need to be integrated. And trying to juggle like learning to let go and surrender into this new world. While not dropping a coin, it's almost like you're keeping up with so much in this physical world, trying to like balance this out, keep things going as normal, but also do this. It's very stressful, and it's something that you can't keep up forever. Just opening yourself up and letting yourself walk through the new world will be like an awakening. I also pulled a rune for you. You have Laguz. It is connected to the water, the sea, the idea of like a lake, that flowing of water, renewal, life energy, dreams, imagination, letting yourself get lost in this forest, in this like dreamy space that you have, fully surrendering to it and just flowing like water. As you see, like behind this 2 pentacles, even you have the flow of water as he's juggling all of those things going on. I hope this was helpful. I have readings open on my website currently if you would like to see more. I also have my Patreon set up as like my subscription service right now. So if you would like to get a monthly reading or like 2 readings a month or even weekly readings, those are available on my Patreon. All that is linked in the description. I also have a 2022 astrological little journal available on Amazon. The link for that is also on my website. If you are interested in any of those things, click the link, check them out. If you are interested in astrology and true crime, you've got to listen to the podcast I co-host. It is called Dark Alignment. I co-host it with my friend who is a criminal psychologist. She does the criminal background and story, and then I look into the charts of killers and victims. It's very fascinating, and it's a great time. So you can join us there, get more readings from me. I'll be excited to hear from you guys. Have a great night and happy Aquarius new moon. Hi, Pile 2. Let's get into it. So, hope you're enjoying this cozy vibe. I already talked to Pile 1 about this. It is the Aquarius new moon here. It's my lunar return and Saturn return. I've been doing lots of self-care as well in my first house and 12th house. I really felt the vibe of doing readings on the bed, real intimate, cozy. This is infused with self-care energy, okay? Okay. If you're not into it, I'm sure you would have left by now. So first, I have us with starting off with affirmation cards. Your affirmation card is attack, pain, fear, judgment, and any form of separation are merely calls for help. So a lot of this suffering feeling coming up, um, but all sort of in a way, in a form, justified in the idea that it's not senseless, not for no reason, but also is it the healthiest way for you to be processing or moving forward with this feeling? We're not sure. we're not sure. Let's get into more of the cards. Um, we have the healer card here, which I already feel such a strong connection with the healer, with like the only affirmation card that is so focused on pain, and like hurt. We have the slow but steady and honoring your energy cards from the shamanic healing deck. And it is also a healing deck. Doing lots of healing for the Aquarius new moon. Okay. I'm also pulling runes. You have 2 runes. You have Rado and Nathis. We're going to put them right there. Nathis is related to need, necessity, hardship, endurance. It's very Saturn-like, Capricorn-like. Survival, determination, patience, constraints, structure, that type of thing. I think I've also seen this related to ice. If I might be thinking of something else, but I want to say no. Ice is Isa. Okay, never mind. Ignore that part. Or maybe it came up for a reason. I did say it on your reading. Rado. Oh yeah, this is a journey. This is travels, destiny, relocation, the dance of life. Okay, you're like riding through life. Is also related to the concept of a wagon, relocation, things like that. So, I see that with the slow and steady and honoring your energy, and I see so much of this real like stress that you've gone through already. You've already had these traumas come up, and you're processing them. You're working through them. It is a slow but steady process, but you are on the journey of it. Oh man, I'm sorry. I can't even see that card. Look at me. Yeah, this isn't my usual setup. Sorry, guys. Actually, as far as my like public YouTube is concerned, I'm sure you guys don't even realize I have a legit setup because I don't tend to do it with my pick a cards. Maybe next time. Maybe next time you'll get to see my altar and how I typically do all my readings. One day you'll get to see. Anyways, so you're on this journey of healing and processing. And what's going to accelerate it is leaning into this concept of honoring your energy. And I will read that one from the deck or from the book. Honoring your energy. We all have those days when we are disinclined to do anything. We try all sorts of mental tricks to talk ourselves into doing what we should be doing, what we think we should be doing. Does this ever work? No. We end up feeling guilty, a very low vibration, for not getting anything done, which causes us to try twice as hard the next day, which causes us to get overwhelmed and exhausted, and which then leads us to becoming caught up in a vicious cycle. Your body has rhythms, just as everything else on this earth does. Flowers, trees, plants, the elements, the tides ebb and flow, the sun and moon rise and set. The animals hibernate, flowers grow, bloom, and go dormant. You need to listen to the inherent cycles within you. Rest when you need to, work when you need to. Try not to outthink the natural rhythms. Go easy on yourself and reserve judgment. You are your own harshest critic. Well. How many of you already knew that about yourself? Maybe not. I feel like I know it about myself, though. All right. We're going to look at that healer card. I want to read that one from that book. That is the Archetypes deck. The healer is the light worker, the gifted, the old soul. Though some claim the work of the healer as their gift and name it as their dharma, the force of this archetype is within everyone. It is our natural inclination to remember, to return to, and to reclaim that central and eternal life force from which we so easily drift away. In Sanskrit, the word avidya, I've never actually read that word or had to read it, so sorry if I'm saying it wrong, means forgetting. And it is said that this is the source of all suffering and dis-ease. The healer's mission then becomes to move through the comfort of forgetting, through the veins of ignorance and denial, to reveal the radiance that already exists. The healer approaches this in multiple ways, from multiple angles, knowing the cycle of healing is not linear. It is a multi-layered and circuitous process, always leading back to its own origin, much like the Ouroboros. When this energy is light and of high frequency, it is self-contained, grateful, and awake. When it's dark and low frequency, low vibration, it is tired, needy, forgetting its own practice. To go deeper into this part of the reading, check out Asclepius, Ear, and Dunvantari. I am so sorry, I don't know those words. The wounded healer is not someone who was wounded and is now healed. It is someone who continues to courageously break open the self and ego as a means for deep integration. And look at that. Also, with the healer card coming up and the wounded healer word coming straight out of this book, I want you guys to check out your personal natal charts and see where you have Chiron on your charts. If you have not checked out your Chiron placement, this is a huge beneficial placement to check out for processing your traumas and healing, and in turn being able to heal others as you move through that space. As you go on your Chiron journey, your trauma journey, your healing journey, having more of the being able to conceptualize it more and in different ways, I think can be really helpful. If you guys would like some kind of reading on that, I might put one up on my site. I've been really delaying doing that, but it might be time. It might be time now. If not, you can always request one from me. I'm happy to take requests. That's a lot of why on my website I have that reading listed as any question reading. And I'll look at your chart, I'll look at cards, I'll look at everything, runes, pendulum, whatever, just to get the full answer to your question as best possible. So your action cards are the Devil reversed, the Knight of Cups, and the Eight of Pentacles. Good, I put them all where you can see them. I'm doing so good. So this Devil reversed has this idea of kind of releasing that connection to things that weren't serving you or things that distract you from your soul purpose, from your healing. It feels like a time, there can be some like moments of the devil upright where it can serve you to be like indulging in life's distractions and in the material world and the excess of the physical plane and really doing these earthly things to these full extents and letting yourself get like enthralled by that. But it's not the vibe we're getting here for you. As an action card, the Devil reversed for you right now, I'm feeling is very give yourself actual time to sit with your feelings and move through it a little bit. before you like go off and indulge in shit. Because as oh, I'm swearing. Oh, here we go. I don't know if I can do that on YouTube. Because as if you lean on the devil upright when you're suffering and in pain, it can lead to a lot of really unhealthy coping mechanisms, a lot of addictions, and really things that are going to make your path more stressful in the long run, more difficult, more challenging. So it feels like you really want to just lean into your own energy, into your feelings, into your guides, taking in divine messages, really maybe even going to therapy or going to somewhere that you feel will be helpful. But not going into this excess indulging space. Your next action card is to like really take charge of your feelings, and I say that kind of in a joking way, okay? Because we're not trying to attack our feelings. We're trying to really just go deep into them. We're trying to get in them. Let's get in there. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting. There it is. It's like get in those feelings. That's what I'm feeling. We're gonna have you guys get deep into your feelings, really start resonating with them, being able to move with them, um, and just start chipping away at what you have access to heal as it comes up. So, like, you're going to be able to make more and more progress over time. We got that slow but steady card coming out. We got Rado. This is all of, like, we're moving through this energy. It's kind of fast, like emotionally fast, like water fast, like a river, but also slow and tedious, almost kind of like the erosion of the river. And really just letting yourself embody that like movement in that space in a way that's natural to you. Um, and I almost feel like some of you guys, not to dissuade anyone, I think that I love therapy. I go to therapy. But I feel like I might have gotten more air energy if that was the case. This almost feels more like meditating energy to me. Maybe even meditating around water. This feels like solace, like finding solace, finding like a spiritual space within yourself. Um, but do what it feels right for you as it does. Um, Again, these readings are more for like validation and clarification and helping these messages get through fully than it is to like tell you what to do. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I would never. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, you can hit me up. I'm anxious to hear from you guys what you guys think, and if this was helpful or not. I do have readings open on my website right now. There's all sorts of stuff on there. You can go check that out. I do astrology and runes and tarot and oracle and pendulum. I do all of these things, and I like to integrate them into each reading. It's really fully encapsulating, in my opinion. If you are wanting like a subscription of readings, like if you want to get a reading once a month or twice a month or once a week, you can do that on my Patreon. I have it set up there. I feel like that's the easiest way to do that right now. You also get some extra things on Patreon, of course. Along with that, on Amazon currently I have an astrological journal. It shows like all of the calendar transit dates for 2022 and it has journaling pages. You can look at that. I hope this was good for you. It was good for me. It was fun for me. Thank you for letting me tap into your energies, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye. Group number 3, welcome. I hope you are vibing with this cozy, more intimate style reading setup. This is the Aquarius new moon. It is my lunar return, also my Saturn return. I'm doing lots of self-care today, lots of, trying to be kind to myself. And I wanted to do the readings in bed today. So that is how we're doing it. And I feel like it is a vibe. This is a reading infused with self-care energy, okay? So if you're not into it, I'm sure you would have left by now. But I felt like just wanted to talk about that for a second. Also, Was there an also? Nope, we're gonna get into it. Okay. So, first off, with these readings, I have your affirmation card. We're gonna get into these messages for you, and then we have action cards here over from the tarot deck. So, your affirmation is, I honor how I want to feel. I honor how I want to feel. And then your shamanic healing cards are past, present, and future, changes, and reunion of souls. Oh, this feels like a timeline. This feels very timeline. Past, present, future, and things are changing. Things are as like life develops, and it's always changing, right? Like every moment, like the sky's moving, your cells in your body are moving. Maybe like plants are growing. Like nothing is ever fully the same from one moment to the next. Air molecules have shifted, waters have shifted, everything. There's this idea that like change is something that happens and like, oh well, now we see it, like this is obviously the change, and it's scary, and I have to get over this change and do this full transition. It's really intense and deep, and it can be, but when you really feel into it and think about it, like change is constant, change is always happening. Being in the present moment is living in change. I think that it's easy to forget that, especially if we're not content with like some of the things that are more of a slow change, or vice versa. So, yeah, we've got this reunion of souls last in this, and I feel like there's this, for one, this concept of you working with the same souls in each reincarnation, kind of moving with similar soul groups, or having one soul group that you stick with very long. It's these reunions of these souls over and over and over again. And the changes in your relationships with those souls as like time, as you're in different reincarnations, and you're in different situations, even if you don't believe in reincarnation, and you're in different situations, it feels like there's this idea of like re-meeting people over and over again, and having these changes be like, when it gets down to it, later the core of the situations happening at all, right? Like, I feel like I'm getting really into a weird space talking about this, but just that even your relationship with someone, even if you're always on good terms, or you're always kind of like this with each other, always kind of like that with each other, it is still always adapting and developing. So it feels like so time, energy, cyclical. Oh my god, we'll just say circular, okay, or cyclic. That's what I'm gonna do. Speaking of that, let's get into these circle cards. Okay, this is the archetypes deck. We have the ocean and Aletheia, and I can't remember if I'm saying that correctly either. Good. So first of all, the ocean, I feel like it very feels like this, like this energy. Both of them do, of course, but like, I've got this sense of the ocean where it's always moving, always shifting, always changing. It is the past, it's the present, and it shows kind of this idea of the future. It's connected with the cycles and the moon cycles, and it has its whole like life system within it. And this idea of like within that own system, the reunion of souls as well. Side note, my partner, and I know some other people who feel this way too, is like when you go to the ocean, it almost feels like it's sometimes when you have a lot of water in your chart, especially, or if you have like water type connections with people. And these souls, like, you can go to the ocean or go to bodies of water to help you kind of like thin the veil to connect with them easier. It's just kind of more fluid. You're kind of in a different like energetic space around water. And sometimes the ocean can sometimes open your eyes up and your mind and your heart, your energy up to actually connecting with souls over there. And the Aletheia card has a lot to do with truth. The book says our soul recognizes the truth when when someone speaks it, a cool wave, ocean, of relief washes over the room, and all the facts and figures in the world fall by the wayside. Such is the power of Aletheia. It has an undeniable resonance that goes beyond the rational. Okay, hold up for a second. If you guys are into ocean sounds, check that out, and check out like the weird ocean sounds, and also check out like the Earth's like magnetic field sounds. Okay, so it's for someone out there. I just had to say it. It's crazy. It's really great to listen to just because it's fascinating, but also tapping into that energy and hearing it as a sound is really connecting. Okay, back to this. We can also recognize Aletheia by its contagiousness. When we hear someone speak the truth, we see the truth within ourselves and are more likely to tell our own story. The Aletheia card requires us to step toward an act of truth. This might look like a conversation, a gesture, a poetic act, or a ritual that honors the unveiling of what's been concealed. Reclaiming your own truth is a way to reclaim your vital energy, health, and sense of belonging in the world. Truth has its own wings. Set it free. When this energy is light and in high frequency, it has clarity, revelation, and disclosure. But when it is dark and of low frequency, low vibration, it is distortions, gaslighting, excuses. To go deeper into this part of the reading, look up the goddesses Ma'at and Veritas. And sorry if I mispronounced. It is said that the resonance of our voice changes when we speak a falsity. In this light, practice seeing truth as a vibration. So overall, your messages, connecting to how you feel, connecting to those inner depths, the unconscious, that deep inner power of the watery emotional side of you that you have, that inner emotion has so much intensity within it, so much that unconscious deep sense of like discovery and like bigger dreams. It's very it can be very overwhelming, and I think that's why a lot of people don't want to open themselves up to it all of the time. There are other reasons as well, but it is a lot, and having that honor for it, that the feelings part of yourself is really huge, and it might feel silly to think about it that way, but it really is huge. And remembering you're on this change, on this like circular like rhythm of past, present, future, these ever-present changes and re-meeting souls and people in your environments and situations, and how developing and growing with them and around them. And learning that truth and really feeling comfortable in that truth, all really important for you right now. And your action cards, you have the King of Swords and the King of Cups. Oh my god. All right, so you're taking on these these actions of mastering your thoughts, mastering your mindset, mastering your emotions, your feelings, which is a lot of what we've talked about in this whole reading. So taking steps, taking like actions every day that make you feel like you are more empowered, and I want to say kind of in control, but maybe not control, because we're not trying to like create rigidity here. We're trying to manage, we're trying to work with, we're trying to really like effortlessly flow with in this empowered state your thoughts, your mindsets, and your feelings, your heart space. um, Having this come together will be really, really empowering, um, and uplifting. I think there's it's so huge to get two kings. All right, that's big. That's big on its own. And our thoughts and our emotions are so tied together. So is our body and everything. But for me personally, I think what tends to affect my emotions the most personally is my mindset. Um, so if you take steps to work on those things, self care, self love, affirmations, like working on creating a healthy mindset, not worried about getting too much in your head about things, or making sure that you are keeping up with things. If you kind of lean the other way on that spectrum of not using that mental energy so much, finding a balance that works for you in the mental space and in the emotional space, so you can move effortlessly in an empowered state, and honoring how you want to feel. Remember your affirmation right here underneath this King of Swords. Um, and then the King of Cups over here on top of all the secular like movement. And we have the ocean. Oh, I'm just loving the combinations tonight so much. All right, and then that 10 of Pentacles reversed. This might look a little bit stressful or intimidating, but when we look at it in terms of what we've been discussing in the reading so far, okay, we're talking about this like ever present sense of change, all of this development always happening, all of these shifts and stuff. This reverse shows lack of stability, lack of resources, lack of that type of like structure. It can, in a way, show like failure, but it's more like failure to like build a castle of structure. Like we're not trying to do that within this healing, this like watery, emotional, healthy mindset way. We are here to honor how we feel, and putting all of this structure and rigidity on that is not helping us, like I said a few minutes ago. Um, you might want to look into what you what your expectations are, where you shape your beliefs, um, and find honor in your feelings, but also in your past family members, the older generations that um, kind of brought you here into this life, your ancestors. Um, Looking at them, finding honor with them and within their legacy, um, in a really internalized emotional space, not in the space of they built this empire, and my grandfather invented the zipper, and now we, whatever. So like it's not really about that side of it. It's this um, more emotional connecting space that you're being guided to take action towards. If you have any kind of family heirlooms or anything that where you feel emotionally connected to them, not just because it's a really fancy item or a really expensive item, something that makes you, if anything, like handwritten, or if you have like um, anything kind of like filled with that heart space energy, right? Like even just a voicemail from an older relative, like see how far you can go back with that, but staying in touch with your feelings. Also, even visiting grave sites, I feel like can be very um, in tune with this space. And I think it's interesting how that also came up with my side note on the ocean card. But it's hard to ignore the truth when you're standing over someone's grave. Like, it's very authentically emotional when you get to that space. And I think that connecting with that emotional legacy of your family may be very helpful in helping you move through these feelings, and learning to honor your feelings, especially when you think about coming back to this past, present, future, and changes, and reunion of souls. Oh my god, with the grave and the ocean. Anyways, coming back to that, like when you look over your family, it's like, oh, they had this whole life, and you can really look at their life, their past. You can look at your older ancestors and older family members who have passed away. You can look at their lives as like kind of a story. Like you've heard like what happened when they were young and in the middle of their life and towards the end. Maybe even saw some of that parts of their lives. But you can really look at it as like this specific thing. Or feelings, and you can't move through and develop your story of your life if you're not honoring how you feel. Or at least you won't do it in a way that you will feel good about. Most likely. I am gonna end it here. I hope this was helpful. Oh, I did want to pull runes for you. You have Fehu, and you have Iwas. So these two runes, the Fehu one shows a lot of this idea of like prosperity and abundance, wealth. This is things that you've earned. And then the Iwa's card rune shows the yew tree, stability, strength, enlightenment, reliability, defense, trustworthiness, protection, toughness. So it's like these really golden, protective, strength filled runes coming through for you. And I feel like them coming through as I talked about the ancestors was very, very reaffirming. So I feel like you have that support system there within your ancestor network or maybe even angel network. But that's a little bit more. It's getting a little bit split up between everyone listening to this. I know some of you will relate to parts of that, and some of you will not. So it's a little bit. It's getting trickier. So I really should just end it here. So if you are interested in more of like a personal reading, I have those open on my website. Right now, I've got all sorts of things on there. I use a lot of astrology. I've done astrology for a long time. I use cards. I use runes. I use pendulum. All of it, I like to incorporate all of them into my readings to make this really full-bodied, detailed readings for you guys on there. If you're into like subscription readings, if you want to get a reading every month or twice a month or once a week from me, that is available on my Patreon. You can check that out. I feel like that's the easiest way to do subscriptions so far. I also have a 2022 astrological journal up on Amazon. If you are interested in having like little transits for every month, all the astrology things happening every month in the front half, and then journaling pages in the back, and a nice little notebook, you can go get that. All of the links are in the description. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you guys are having a great Aquarius new moon, and I will talk to you later.